presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
These are good problems to have, right? So much success that you have more than one place to be.
5-3, touchdown, Oregon.
Off a dribble, launches, and hits the three. Oregon leads.
What a great opportunity it is to be able to play at University of Oregon.
I'm just incredibly proud to be a part of something like this.
She wants another three. Oh, three in a row.
Big Ten champions.
National champions, yes. The Ducks take home an indoor national title.
We are so privileged and so fortunate. We get to see all these young people. We get to see this incredible growth, which is what college is all about.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
I'm just really disappointed in our first guest today as we welcome you inside.
Great foundation to start with.
The Country Financial Studio. Where's the Carl's Jr. burger?
It's in a garbage can.
Wow.
Somewhere in Eugene.
So you actually did go today.
Absolutely.
I'm proud of you.
California Classic double and spicy chicken.
I'm proud of you. H.J.
$8.39.
Cohn, Deputy Athletic Director here with us. It became a tradition that we didn't even see coming, that he would take himself out to lunch every time he came on Duck Insider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a me day. I should try and come on every day. Treat myself.
Yeah. You know, you're always welcome to
win.
just swing the door open and
Kramer
make your way
style,
in.
of course.
No, I would just hand the headset to you.
Yeah, you guys got to have like a warning sign because there's no window there.
Right, yeah.
Sure, we're not passing some code on that, but I come in hot, as you know.
Yes, you
and
do.
I do get fearful that broken nose, broken teeth are on the back end of that.
Well, today, you know, someone knocked on the studio door, which no one ever does.
Yeah, I'd be very concerned.
I mean, very respectful of Coach Fish from the basketball program.
Good
he
man.
knocked on the door, and I said, yeah? And he came in, and it was very nice to see him.
That is.
Yeah, it was. You know, so this was your first year now as the liaison, the administrator for the men's basketball team. So I have a very hard-hitting question for you.
Okay.
In your time as a student manager and working on the basketball staff, and now including this year as the administrator, do you know what your record is?
I don't have a clue.
Come on!
And I'm guessing you did not fact check that, which I'm probably thankful for.
I think you had a winning record. I think you have a winning record as a member of the basketball staff in some capacity.
Well, I'm trying to recall here, we had 2 really good seasons back-to-back, and then my final year was a rough stretch. So that might have hampered me down that final year a little bit. But I'll tell you those 2 years, and then which is under Coach Kent, and then now under Coach Altman and his leadership, we've had a pretty hell of a ride. So
yeah,
I like my odds if I'm counting the time under being in the actual athletic department.
I mean, here's the thing. Like you look at long tenured coaches and what their winning percentage is around college basketball, and someone like Coach Altman who's won, I've always said like 65% or more of your games, you're elite, right?
Yeah,
so you
no
start
doubt.
looking at, that's one of the things that the stat nerd like me does. I look at those matchups, right? And I think you've got one of those records. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, you're very kind.
Yeah. So first year, though, as the sport admin, what was that like for you?
Unique in the sense that we had a guy in Eric Rodell who I look up to immensely, and I think a lot of people do. And one, just continue to be thrilled for him and his family, going back to a place that they would consider home. And so for him to be able to stay with us through the bowl game and a pretty good chunk of basketball season, and my approach after asking a lot of questions of him and Rob giving me a call and giving me a room to grow and support men's basketball a little bit more was, just don't mess it up, stay out of the way. and what I mean by that was I'm fortunate where I've known a lot of those coaches and staff, and just had an absolute ball over the course of the next 2 months as we went through the rest of the season, and just spending more time with them. A lot of it more on the operations, logistics side of things, which I thoroughly enjoy. And again, just kind of being around them and just saying, hey, how can in any way, shape, or form, whether that be helping get bags on the bus, I mean, like you do.
Back to the manager days.
That's right. Once a manager, always a manager. And just being of assistance and trying to be of help. So that was kind of the initial goal. And then all the way fast forward to today as we're in spring workouts now already, and talking to Coach McKenna about scheduling for next year and what does that look like, and just strategy, and trying to just get brought up to speed because I don't know what I don't know. So trying to, again, add value as much as I can without getting in the way.
Yeah. Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
And being one of the last 32 teams playing, look, you want to win a championship. I get that. Everybody wants that. Competing for those championships is what this place is all about. Also, being one of the last 32 teams playing in the NCAA tournament is really, really hard.
Yeah,
and
no
both
doubt.
the men and the women got to do that this year.
Yeah, I think, when you look at all sports, it's a unique situation, particularly at the collegiate level, where they're very competitive.
Sure.
And when you go into, and even last night, you look at the game, the national championship on the men's side of, how quickly a run can happen and put you over the top. And as it relates to the men's side, we ran into a really good Arizona team at the time, and I was impressed by them, and we knew they were going to be tough. Thought we had really good matchups and had a great start, and ultimately at the end of the day came up just a little bit short. And that's the way basketball sometimes can go.
Right.
I mean, you get hot, and I remember hearing Coach Altman talk on the bus about another NCAA tournament game on a day off, and he's like, "Did you guys see that team, how many threes they hit?" And he's like, "I've told you guys, sometimes it's just your night. The ball is going in no matter what."
Yeah.
And it's so true. Now, granted, you can prepare for those moments and practice, whether that be individual workouts or team workouts and whatnot. But I'm super proud of our programs, both men's and women's side, making a run. One of probably only a few schools making it to the 32, round of 32, and then continue to build. What's being reported versus not. Got some great core student athletes on the men's team coming back, it looks like, and so a foundation to continue and build upon the success that we've had this year leading into next year.
That's amazing too. You mentioned like already looking ahead, right? Like that's a conversation that I had with Coach Altman and Coach Menega. Even like the page turned so quickly.
Yeah, especially with the portal when
right.
it opened when it did.
Right.
We played on Sunday and it was open on Monday.
Right, and so like to give you some context, everyone, like. Many of the transfers that made up the core of Oregon this year, a lot of them announced they're transferring to Oregon right around now to within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so that just gives you an idea. Like, that's how fast it moved last year, and it's going to keep being that way, it sounds like.
Yeah, as the way the rules are structured as right now, I mean,
right.
it will be. And so
nothing will stay the same.
No, that's one thing that's consistent. We're fortunate where they have a great staff and kind of know their roles. And where they're excelling at each of them. And some of that might be on the recruiting front, some of that might be on the scheduling front, to set yourself up to have a great seed going into the tournament. This year we saw 4 number 1 seeds make the Final Four. So those games in November and December become very important, despite probably more eyeballs nationally speaking on basketball as it gets into January, February, or March. But those games in November and December are critical to set yourself up for success come March.
Yeah, one, resume, and then if I could add to that, like, also you think about the team's growth and how much different the team is. Remember, everyone, Portland was leading by 9 at Matthew Knight Arena this year, late in the game, right? So you talked about like how fast things can turn and how you have to prepare for those sorts of things, and I come back to that a lot. Like, you got to be ready for those different moments, and also your team gets better as the season moves forward.
Yeah, and it's hard to say sometimes in the non-conference who's going to be good, who's not when they get into conference play. But we've had a really successful approach in the way they do schedule, and we were fortunate last year to play in the Players Era. I think you got a hat sitting right here. Yeah.
Sure do.
The Players
Throw
Era.
it on.
And getting some quad 1 wins early on in November, which really, again, set the foundation for a great run into March.
Yeah. Women's basketball as well. We talk about just the hoop season review, if you will. I mean, the program got right back where Kelly Graves wants it. Now, a chance to even build on that moving forward, which is fun to see.
Yeah, I think, when you're coaching, how do you define success and take basketball as the sport that we're talking about is – your conference tournament becomes, it feels different. Like, you can just feel it's postseason. And at least I've certainly felt that in the past. And I think the student athletes and coaches and staff would argue that too. And so where everyone's goal, is we want to win a national title. We want a national title. And that's simply because we're at a place that we feel the resources are there and they have excellent coaches on both sides. And they have the capability to do that. Again, that is very, very hard to do. I mean, even go back to football this past year and volleyball. Right. Every sport we are setting up for long-term success, but when it gets to postseason, there's only one champion typically at the end of the year. And so you take those moments in even the Players Era tournament and winning that and building upon that next season. And, year 2 that will be going down there. We've been in it. We know what to expect early on in November of some very competitive physical ball. But to build on those things is already, like you said, flip the page and start to build out your roster, get the camaraderie both on the floor and off the floor, and season will be here, ironically, before we know it.
Yeah, similar line of thinking. It's spring football. The Ducks were at Otsa Stadium practicing today. We continue with H.J. Cohn. Spring game, always a fun celebration.
Yeah, no doubt. And, just I would say like the month of April with the home sporting events between tennis programs, softball, baseball, spring game coming up. We had men's golf recently here at the Duck at ECC, and so there's just a lot of great home matches and events coming up. Lacrosse, obviously, we're just wrapping up, had senior day last weekend, so we've got a great slate of events. We're always looking at the weather app and hoping that it's on our side to get a lot of fans out there, but all those programs doing really well. And then as it relates to spring game, hosting Oregon State at PK Park that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Saturday, I think we're close to, if not already sold out, very close to sold out. And Friday and Sunday looking well along with that. So we're really excited for that weekend. Spring games, kind of this moment where football season seems like, okay, we've kind of caught our breath a little bit, and now it's back, and fans come out and have been always great about coming out, which ends up being a big recruiting weekend for us as well, and a way to reconnect with the fans in the offseason.
And Coach Lanning has said, he really values the spring game, I think, because of what you just said. There are a lot of people that come to Oregon spring game. That's not true at everywhere around the country. There's a lot of people, and that's where you can make it a recruiting weekend. You talk about the future of a program. Fans make a difference in that on this day. Yeah,
and I think, when you talk to our programs and our coaches and student athletes, we're fortunate to have I could argue, an international brand with the O.
Yep.
And when you look at the type of student athlete who wants to come here, get an education and compete for championships, and as we allude to, broad-based excellence, the community becomes a very big part of that. And I'm not just saying that to appease people listening in. It really does become a piece of who they are. And, I've watched young men and women come in as a freshman and they leave, and Eugene becomes a very special place in their heart. And a lot of that stems from the community, not only support at games, but the small town feel to an extent that has major sports opportunities, facilities, academics, and whatnot. So spring game is just a small part of that really captures the big picture.
That's why I'm still here.
Yeah.
It's true. Limited parking passes available for the spring game. So GoDucks.com has you covered. If you're thinking, I don't know, I'm on the fence. Remember, donation to Food for Lane County, 3 non-perishable food items. Parking, though, you want to make sure you secure it so that it makes your day even easier, right?
Yeah, and with construction going on the new indoor football facility, parking is going to look a little bit different. Our shuttles are going to look a little bit different. We do have solutions to where we're going to try and make it feel and operate from a transportation standpoint throughout the day. But when you got spring game hoping for 40,000 plus, you got PK Park after that, plus the construction, it will look a little bit differently. So I agree. I would encourage fans to get their parking passes while they remain. I think we have a few left. So
yeah, the last check, it was literally just a few left, which is a great thing.
Yeah.
Right?
So I encourage people. I want to say last time I checked, it was like 400 left, and as we get closer and closer to the game, spurs people to say, we're going to that. We should probably figure out our parking situation.
And remember, Oregon State's in town for baseball. You're going to want to stick around at PK Park. It's going to be a fun environment.
Yeah, should be a great day.
Yeah, going to be a fun weekend. Okay, we're going to get a break. We're going to come back. A lot more to cover with H.J. Cohn, Deputy Athletic Director, joining us. A few more fun things. We'll find out if he's got a winning record or not here on the Oregon Sports Network or on Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial.
Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run
friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
The most hard-hitting question that we're going to get all day. Chase asking, when's the surplus sale? I don't know if H.J. Cohn has an answer to that question yet, but I can tell you that plans are being formulated around the surplus sale. Is that fair?
Yeah, is it not public?
I don't think so.
Okay. Soon.
You can make it public.
No, I don't.
To.
I that's one I must say I've seen some email drafts being prepared, so soon.
That's why I was saying.
I would look at if history repeats itself, you probably have a good sense of
right.
a window that it'll be in.
I think you have a really good window of when it will be based on that.
It's like somebody asking, like, when's the Masters every year? Well, you know it's in April. You just got to look at the dates that it falls on, and you probably have a good sense.
Yeah, that's a good description. Yeah, who's winning the Masters?
Well, I hope a few guys.
Yeah.
Certainly, I hope Wyndham makes a deep run into the weekend. But, gosh, I don't know. I'm just excited to sit back and watch some Sunday golf at some point.
Well, and on that front, we were talking actually during the break. Men's golf, also one of the teams that you work closely with, H. And that's a team that I've said this before. Like, if you want to look at something that's just epically consistent with a lot of variables and moving pieces, it's Casey Martin's program. So consistent all the time, and they're doing it again this year.
Yeah, they got a good group, and when you have, with the way men's golf works, typically is you have 3, hopefully at least, or potentially even more guys that are going to be considered travel squad pretty consistently, and they've typically been in the program and have earned it and are shooting great scores. And then you have qualifiers leading into events, and so there's been a lot of excitement of some young talent or new talent coming around, and some guys that have been in the program that maybe didn't meet that travel squad initially and have been just consistently gotten better from a development standpoint. So I'm excited they go down to the Western Intercollegiate on and compete on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, and then after that take a quick break before Big Ten championships out in Baltimore, and then NCAA selection show. To see where we'll be heading for regionals.
And it sure looks good for regionals, by the way, everybody. You got to take care of business down the stretch, don't
Sure.
get me wrong. But, again, just the consistency of that program, I think, continues to be off the charts. Back to football. Draft Day, hosted by the Oregon Club of Eugene Springfield, coming up on Thursday, April 24th. Really cool idea, I got to tell you, because the first round, the NFL draft has become this event in and of itself, right? Spread out over multiple days, and chance to see hopefully some Duck names get called.
Yeah, I think when we look at externally facing events, you're always looking at ways how can you continue to improve the event from a customer standing experience. And, as it relates to this one, Draft Day, as we're coining it, is an opportunity to spend time with our, staff, student athletes from the football program, discuss, signing day, the recent one, if you will, or the last year, get a glimpse into spring ball. At that point, they'll be leading up right into the spring game that Saturday, 2 days later. So you kind of get a chance to say, how did signing day go? Talk about the incoming kids, the newcomers, if you will. Talk about spring ball, and then also look at the NFL draft that'll be starting that night. We're going to try and get creative with the tech side, if you will, and hope we see a lot of our guys go. Combine here, Pro Day here was just extremely well attended, and so the program that Coach Lanning has started to set up, and as he enters year 4, the foundation was built very quickly. And not only from a on-the-field success from a win standpoint, but also from a development standpoint and getting guys to chase their dreams to go to the NFL. So I think we're expecting a great set of days over the draft. And so kind of a 3-part series for that Draft Day event, behind the scenes, raw information, and really get to relate with the program, both the coaches, student athletes, and then talk about the future as well.
Where can fans learn more and sign up and attend, maybe?
Go to the Oregon Club of Eugene Springfield website. We're looking forward to it. It's a couple weeks away. Going to be here at the club room at Autzen, I believe, and should be well attended. So I would encourage people to get their tickets and get to go to that Thursday night and then spring game on Saturday.
There will be some Ducks around. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Believe me.
It should be a good time. They've done a really good job with that event and continue to elevate the bar. And so I'm really looking forward to what it looks like this year.
Yeah, hope to see a lot of Duck fans there. And then also coming up on track and field, we're into what I would call the season of Hayward, because you just get so many outdoor track and field events at Hayward Field, which is really where all of them should be, if I'm being honest with you. I don't know if you feel the same.
Well, I'm excited. We have the Team Invitational, something that we have heard from fans. We want to see a competition, team scoring competition, some notable programs coming up. That's April 19th, I want to say, in the afternoon, evening, I want to say. But that's coming up and should be, from a fan perspective, from a scoring standpoint, really fun to follow along with. So we have that coming up on the 19th. And then, before we know it, again, you're into postseason, which will ultimately come back here a couple more times with the Big Ten championships and then NCAA championships as well. So looking forward to Hayward over the course of the next 2 months. Should be pretty lively.
Yeah, it's fun. Tickets. I always like to just check in with you on tickets, football season tickets, any updates, anything that fans should know.
Yeah, so last year we were fortunate in the sense we sold out of season tickets. First time we'd been able to do that in a long time. Obviously, we saw a huge demand there. So when we went into our off-season pricing strategies, quantity strategies, we really looked at, okay, where can we grow the season ticket base? And there was not a lot of wiggle room in there.
Sure.
So to be able to garner, call it 500, 800 more season tickets that we were able to put out there to our fans for this upcoming season, is something that we're really excited about. We're trending towards selling out again.
Awesome.
What that tells me is, one, the fans are really excited about the direction of the program and the current state of the program, but two, also recognizing the value in getting a season ticket, knowing that you have your guaranteed location, you get to be in your community of friends, but also knowing that you're not going to have to wait till, I want to go to that game, and it's looking for a single game ticket that we might not have, or that might be costing a lot more based on supply and demand. So we're really excited to have increased our season ticket allotment. We do anticipate selling out. We're getting low on those. I believe we have under 600 left. And so that'll get us right around that 40,000 mark, which is really great and shows, a big kudos to the fans.
We've covered a lot. H.J. Cohn, anything we missed? Anything else fans should
know? I don't
know?
think so. Just always a thank you to the fans. I mean, that's what makes this place go, allows our student athletes to grow not only on the field or the court, but in life too. And so without our fans, season ticket holders, donors, whether they're buying season tickets and donating with it or donating philanthropically, all that comes into play. And to sustain the success that we've been able to formulate over the years, it takes resources. I don't think that's any secret, especially in the era that we continue to go to. So we're really fortunate to have a very supportive base, and we look to continue on that.
H.J. Cohn, Deputy Athletic Director, always great to see you.
Thanks so much for having me.
Hey, you're welcome anytime.
Go Ducks.
I've always thought that if all the broadcasters get sick, we're calling you.
You might want to think twice, buddy.
I think it'd be great.
The good news for you, if you do that, the bar will be set so low, you'll be able to come right back in.
Thanks, H. When we come back, we're going to talk a little Oregon softball. Great weekend. 5-3 loss to LMU yesterday. We'll break all that down with Coach Lombardi. She's with us in the Country Financial Studio next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Truckin' Awesome, Toyota Tundra's got heart-pounding horsepower. Tacoma is one rugged ride, and the 4Runner is tough as nails. Truck yeah. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Truckin' Awesome, Toyota Tundra's got heart-pounding horsepower. Tacoma is one rugged ride, and the 4Runner is tough as nails. Truck yeah. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
Heather and I had an argument just like any other couple. I was lost. I had snapped. I had a gun and I was going to take my own life. Heather helped me realize that there was still a life to live for the better of myself, my family. My weapon is now safely put away.
A moment of crisis can happen to anyone. Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Coach Lombardi, I got to tell everybody, literally ran up the staircase to get into the studio with us today. So let's just take a moment and review. A great weekend against Michigan, and then a day where we were talking as you just got up here, didn't go the way you wanted it to. We'll talk about all of it. Shout out, though, first to the fans, Coach. Maybe let's just start there. What an awesome environment at the Jane. Also, welcome to the studio. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm out of breath, but I'm good.
I'm good. You know, look, we appreciate your effort, so thank you. Thank you. You know, I hope that a lot of fans were out of breath from all the cheering that they did over the weekend for you.
Our fans were phenomenal. I think about Game 2. We do not win that game without our fans.
Yeah.
Do not. I mean, when they stood up, you heard them roar. It was amazing. It made a difference. Like, that was postseason right there.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I felt like that's why you host in postseason,
yes.
right? Like, that's what it felt like to me, that advantage matters because you came from behind in Game 1 and you came from behind in Game 2. I mean, just that mentality. Maybe let's start there, to come from behind in those first two games.
I think it was really good. This team needs to learn how to come from behind. That's something that we need to continue to work on. And know that as long as we have outs, as long as we have innings, we are never, ever out of a ball game.
Yeah. Now, I got to ask you, though, as a coach, like, the strategy, the speech before the 7th. What goes through your mind as a coach? What'd you tell him heading into that 7th inning in Game 2?
I said, let's win a ball game. You know, we do all of our prep work and I don't know, maybe get a little deeper as a group prior to the weekend.
Sure.
Once the weekend comes, it's time. Like me trying to pull, I don't know, a rabbit out of my hat.
Right.
You know, like I don't need to with this group.
Yeah.
It's just about us believing and knowing that we're going to win.
You know, we've talked so often about how this group just has this great vibe about them. They're young, but then you have these leaders in big spots that have grown into those leadership roles. Like, do you ever worry about this team? I mean, I'm serious about that. Like, I know I'm joking, and I know coming off a loss even, but, like, it seems like the mentality of this team is right where you want them to be all the time.
They are. I trust this team. I love coaching this team. This has been just an unbelievable joy. Like, as a coach, like you, there's so many reasons you coach, and I'm getting to experience all those reasons this year. But we've got to continue to grow. That's what's important. When we stop growing, then that's when I get concerned.
Yeah, makes sense. And you always want to be peaking in June, right? And so there's still some of that ahead of us. Talking with Coach Lombardi, I did want to ask you a little bit about just what happens when you change to a doubleheader. You know, you got to get the games in, right? So you change to a doubleheader. How does that impact you, your team, and then it clearly worked, right? Because you had the momentum going into Game 3. You end up run-ruling that game. All those things, Coach. Just take us through the process.
I think first off, going into the weekend, looking at the weather was already showing that we were going to have some issues prior. And so I told them, I said, I'm going to tell you guys right now, you need to be ready and prepared to play a doubleheader.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about just each game, it's going to require us to win a certain way. You know, whether that's with our pitching or with our hitting, our defense, or understanding that the series is requiring us to play 2 on Saturday. Do you guys have it? You know, what it takes to beat a very good Michigan Game 1 and then come back 30 minutes later and beat them again.
Yeah. You know, it wasn't lost on me that not long ago, right, in softball super regionals. That sometimes would be the case, right, that you would have to come back and play again. And in regionals and in the tournaments, once you play your early season tournaments, you don't often have a lot of double headers that get you ready for it. I imagine there's some value in that, getting ready for postseason.
There is, because in postseason there's a lot of inclement weather.
Right.
In the regional, if you have to come through the losers bracket, you're going to have to beat the winner twice in one day. So these are things that, for us just to have a very kind of easy peasy schedule, the sun is out, we get to play one game, it's like not going to always be realistic.
Right.
It's us understanding that regardless of the elements, there's going to be different things. How can you handle that on top of, playing the game as well?
So that was Michigan. Now let's go to yesterday, Coach. Just take us through it. Some of the takeaways after one of the rare losses of the season for your team.
It was tough. After the game, we were upset. We were upset. We didn't play the way we needed to play. We understand that it doesn't matter whether you're in the Big Ten, ranked, not ranked, whatever. We get that. We do not take one team for granted.
You got a target on your back right now.
Yeah, we did not play well. We did not play good enough. They played great. You look at their offense was timing, their pitching gave them a chance to win, and their defense. You look at us offensively. We hit some balls really hard. We had a ball that should have gone out of the park that didn't. But we didn't pitch well or play good enough defense. Like, our 3 cylinders did not perform the way we needed to perform to win tomorrow.
I heard
yesterday. Sorry.
I heard you mention that the post game. Like, you think about when one cylinder doesn't fire, then the other 2, right, have to work together. And when you don't get all 3, it's difficult to win. I mean, how do you handle that as a coach? Like, if one isn't working, you don't want it to bleed over into the other 2, right? Like, I'm going to use your cylinder like mechanics, right? You don't want the bad oil going into the other cylinder, right? Like, do you feel that happens sometimes? Like, you just get the bleed over from cylinder to cylinder, I suppose?
I just think we, in the game, we're realizing it, but did not do enough of in-game adjustments to adjust and find a way to win the ball game. And I think about this group, every time we have had a loss, what it has done for us has been amazing.
Yeah.
But it's just, we don't want to lose.
Right.
we want to win and put ourselves in position to win every game. We didn't put ourselves in position yesterday.
So I told Coach when she came in, everybody, that, I was talking about earlier on the show, that, now number 4 in all the major polls. So the 4th loss of the season, maybe 4 is just your number this week.
Maybe it is.
That works out, I guess. So 4 is the number this week. I don't know why, but it just was. Now, if I could zoom out a larger picture for you, because we've been talking about the speed that your team has, the ability to steal bases. So let's start individually. Kyle Lushar broke the individual single-season steals record, now at 42 over the week. I mean, if I told you going into the year, you probably wouldn't be shocked by that, right? Like, you know her capability, but just put that in context for fans, just what that means for Kai.
It just tells you how incredibly fast. Like, she just absolutely flies, Like, people know she's going. I mean, they're pitching out on her, and they're not throwing her out. It's just her ability to go from 0 to whatever it is she's going to, and go 60 feet. It's impressive.
I feel like maybe I haven't asked you this enough, Coach. Like, her speed is one thing, but also the intelligence, right? And when to go, the timing. Like, could you speak to that a little bit for Kai?
Yeah, definitely, because it's understanding pitches to pick. It's a little bit. They throw a changeup that's a nice pitch to go on. Something down in the zone is a nice pitch to go on. A pitch that sets a catcher up. Up and away is maybe not necessarily the pitch to go on, but she's probably still safe.
Yeah, that's what's amazing.
That's
where you have a record setter, right?
Yeah.
That you have the speed that overcomes something that doesn't go the perfect way. And maybe for your entire team. Like, I know that's been a focus. And again, team broke the school's record for steals this weekend too. So it's kind of cool. You get that synergy of the individual record and the team record falling in the same weekend, Coach. And just for the whole team, how much of a weapon has it been for you? How big of a deal is that to get that record?
It's a big deal. Since last year, when we were 10 short of 100, we have had it on our minds that we are going to break 100. We've just had it. It's something that just really opens up our games. These guys swing, and just seeing how we can turn singles into doubles, and how quickly can we get somebody into scoring position, and with the ability to run allows us to get into scoring position quickly.
Yeah. Lisa Sokolsky, I wanted to ask you about that too. Big Ten Pitcher of the Week, went 3-0 over the weekend. That's huge.
It is. She's pitching really well right now. And you know what? She came into that first game and I feel like just kind of pulled her teammates along with her. I thought she did a great job of just changing momentum and giving us an opportunity to win the ball game.
Yeah. All right, now looking ahead, don't look now, but there's 3 teams that are tied for first place in the Big Ten standings, 3 teams that are 9-1. The Ducks are one of them. At Minnesota, upcoming this weekend. What do you want to see against the Golden Gophers? Maybe tell us a little bit about Minnesota.
They always hit well. They always pitch well. They've always been a really good team. So it's just us understanding how to prepare for the weekend and understanding each game, how to perform to our ability to get what we want.
And going on the road changes the calculus, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. The weather's a little different. It's a new venue, all these different things that are just a part of it. So it's just how do we handle our business on and off the field and continue. The one thing I do know about this group is tomorrow we get to practice and they want to get on the field and get yesterday off of them.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah.
And then also to take that into this weekend.
Yeah, today was an off day, by the way, everybody. So you got to sit and ponder the loss a lot longer than you probably would like, I'd imagine, for this team. So then I should say UCLA is in town 10 days from today. That'll be fun at the Jane. Over 2,000 for every game this weekend. Hope to see that again, huh?
I think so. Our fans have been unbelievable. It's just awesome. Just watching this past weekend and what they did for us. I would expect. I'm just thankful to see them coming every weekend.
So cool. Coach Lombardi, thank you for your cardio exercise to get here.
You're welcome.
We appreciate you. Oregon softball on the road against Minnesota and then back at home against UCLA next week. We got more coming on Duck Insider, some updates from spring football practice today. That's coming up next. Stick with us on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You say you never give in to a meltdown and never fill your feed with kid photos. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it and never let them run wild through the grocery store. So when you say you'd never let them get into a car without you there, no, it can happen. 1 in 4 hot car deaths happen when a kid gets into an unlocked car and can't get out. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I'm coming home to the place that I remember, back to the land of my first love. Would you spread wide arms for this wayward son? I left my heart.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack with you inside the Country Financial Studio. Coach Lombardi, it was awesome catching up with her, and I like her mentality. You don't play well, nothing goes your way. Turn the page. Time to go on the road, get back to Big Ten play, where the Ducks may emerge this weekend in first place. We'll see. And then UCLA at the Jane in 2 weeks. That's a big one. It was always a big one in the Pac-12 era. Now it's a big one in the Big Ten era. Talking about football, though, Dan Lanning and the Oregon football staff continue to get the Ducks ready for the spring game on April 26th. And after practice today, just a little while ago, if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, Dan Lanning met with the media upstairs in the HDC.
Some really good work today from our guys. Got some good situational football, 4 minute, get the ball back, goal line. Really good progress. I'm excited about where our guys are at right now. Really good energy at practice today and some good work.
Right here on the right with Zach.
When he got here 2 years ago to where he is now, Austin Noah said, what have you seen him develop the most? Where do you think he's grown the most?
Yeah, I think the guy's just a winner. I mean, he's become really comfortable in our system. He understands it, and I think that Coach Stein and the offensive staff do a good job of continuing to push that, but he's just really level-headed. I think he's got to see some great quarterbacks in front of him with Dylan and Bo, and that experience of seeing how those guys operate day in and day out and what he can be. He's a guy that can make every throw, is a good decision maker, and really a leader of our team.
James, here on the left.
See the quarterbacks wearing some kind of contraption, cameras or something or other out there. Is that for the VR stuff? Is that straight up cameras? Is that for recruiting? What's the
just an opportunity to get different views of what the quarterback sees pre-snap, right? And there's a lot of different ways we can use that.
Right here on the left, Eric.
Coach, we asked you about Ross last month, and just with more time, I'm curious, kind of what are your takeaways with him and kind of the room he's building?
Yeah, I just think that Ross is the kind of guy that comes to work every day looking to work, right? He taps in every single day saying, okay, I'm going to go get this and attack it. And, brings a lot of experience and knowledge, from different programs, some great programs. Fran Brown did an awesome job there at Syracuse last year. And I think did a great job of help developing his coaches. You look at being able to win 10 games at Syracuse, and really changing their offense over a year, going to becoming one of the best passing offenses in college football. That's part of what Ross brings here. But his energy, his enthusiasm, his effort to coach every single day, I think that's really credit to the way he approaches each day.
Right here on the right, Zach.
Looks like Bedford is playing at least a little bit. What does his return mean for that room, especially his experience with a new local line?
Yeah, we're a better team when we have healthy players out there that are able to help us. And Matt's one of those guys that we're counting on being able to help us, and size matters up front, experience. He's a guy that has more experience. And just it's great to see him healthy out there. And he has a great energy and enthusiasm on the field.
James?
Several guys in the receivers room remarked about what Gary's role was last season, even as he was hurt. Where do you see him physically at this point, and what role and how important is he to the room now going forward when it's losing a couple of guys?
Yeah, Gary looks as good as he's looked since I've been here. And, Gary has always been a really talented player that we felt like could help us, right? And it's just a matter of his availability and being healthy. And he's done a great job of attacking rehab this offseason, even throughout last year. He's been a leader. He stepped up in front of the team yesterday and had some words on Saturday and had some words to share with the team about the direction of this program. So really pleased with Gary and his progress, and definitely think we're a better team with a healthy Gary out there.
Back left, Matt.
Yourself and your assistants that have spoken so far have talked about how spring's all about growth. How do you grade that? What other metrics do you use to find that this team did grow?
Yeah, we're better today than we were yesterday, right? I mean, it's simple. Like, if we make a mistake, right, are we making that same mistake in the next practice, right? Because mistakes are going to happen, and that's about growth. It's about losing a rep in a tackling drill and then saying, I want to get back up there so I can do it again, right, and do it better. And maybe I lose another rep, but I'm learning every one of those reps, right? And it's the mental approach of when I'm not in the game, getting better, and when I am in, getting better. And then when I take that to the meeting room, what's that look like? But us as coaches challenging ourselves to improve, making sure we're checking every box that we have to hit this spring, and then just letting our guys play football, right? Because you got great football players. You got to adapt to their talents and their skill set to let them do that.
James?
We saw Mateo play both as a hand-down guy and a hand-up guy, and certainly versatility is valuable. But when you're losing Jordan in particular, how much do you want and need him to be the 4-eye, 5-6 versus a wide 9 or 7 necessarily?
Yeah, you got to be able to do it all, right? And that's one of Mateo's strengths is that he can do it all, right? There's 32 teams in the NFL. I want all 32 to want Mateo, right? And that's because he has position versatility. It doesn't matter that they're a 3-4 or 4 down front. He's a guy that can play a 6, a 4-eye. He's a guy that can line up and stand in space. And the same with Tatum. He's another guy with great experience. Same with Blake Purchase. Had a great spring so far. Seeing great growth from Elijah as well. And even young guys, Nas standing out. So the more that you can do for your team, the more valuable you are for our team. And those guys are guys that can do both.
Hang on, left, Eric.
A lot of newcomers. You talked about this a lot, but I'm just curious in terms of install or just base knowledge of the offense and defense. How do you feel the newcomers and this team in general is at right now?
Yeah, I think they've handled it really well. We take more of the approach of, we have a lot of walkthroughs before we get into spring ball, but we're going to throw the kitchen sink at you and see what sticks. It's going to be a challenge. It's a process. And then with every situation comes new install, right? With every day, we've had install for every practice, right? So our guys have to remember what they've already done, right? And then also be able to add to that and grow a volume in a library that they're able to execute at a high level.
2 more questions, Aaron in the back and then Zach up front.
Seems like last season, last spring, Coach Adams kind of built a camaraderie within the wide receiver room. How would you just describe the competition with Coach Douglas and him taking over the competition within the wide receiver room this spring?
Yeah, see, great leadership, and there's a lot of guys that can play at a high level in there, right? And I think that's credit to the recruiting job that, Junior did while he was here. And then I think Ross hasn't missed a step. He's hit the ground running, and trust happens over time, right? He has to have that opportunity to earn those guys' trust. But I know that they know they're getting coached every single day by Ross, and we got some great guys in that room that I think will be able to help us in a big way.
Zach.
Probably know the answer to this question already, but will you be watching the Masters this week, and do you have a pick for who's going to win?
Maybe I can get a little bit of it Sunday, right? Maybe I can get a little bit of it Sunday. It's a awesome competition, but no, I probably won't be catching a lot of it. I'll just check the boards afterwards, and it's hard to bet against Scheffler right now. He's pretty good.
Now I want to tell everyone, Coach Lanning, after he ended his press conference, he got up, then he came back to the chair and he said, "Wyndham Clark." Bravo, Coach. Bravo. That's who I'm rooting for at the Masters. It is always a fun thing to tune in for, though. There's just nothing like a great Sunday at the Masters. I just hope for a competitive Sunday, I think, at this point. When we come back, Kenyon Sadiq, one of the tight ends for the Ducks, meeting with the media. That's next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow. You sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
You know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now, so good to see you real.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack with you here inside the Country Financial Studio. On Saturday, we didn't get to it yesterday, Kenyon Sadiq, Oregon tight end, who's really emerged as a leader beyond the tight end room, and he's learned from a couple longtime Ducks, in Terrence Ferguson and Patrick Herbert. It was awesome to catch up with Kenyon Sadiq, guy who figures to be a big part of this Oregon offense this season.
Earlier this spring, Will Stein called you one of the best players in college football. What does that mean to you when you hear that, like, Does that add extra pressure to you? What do you
Right.
kind of get when you hear that?
No, obviously it means a lot coming from Stein. But at the end of the day, they're kind of just words. You know what I mean? You got to kind of go out there and prove it. So, like I said, it means a lot coming from Stein. And like I said, there's a high expectation that I have to come out every day and try to work up to.
What's it like coming into the spring with the room looks completely different than it did last year, and you're suddenly the experienced veteran in the room?
Right. Yeah, it's definitely crazy. Like Pat and Ferg, those are my guys and stuff. So definitely a lot of change, a lot of growth areas for me. Kind of just like getting outside my comfort zone in a lot of ways, helping the younger guys. But also there's like kind of a sense of freedom to go out there, play, make plays, and then, elevate those young guys. Like I said, help them, catch them up, and just hold the standard in the tight room that those guys set for us.
Again, and you kind of mentioned you need to go out and prove it. What does that look like for you? Are there goals or aspirations or things you want to achieve this, whether it be in spring but also the year?
Right, just compete in every rep. It's really easy to just get complacent. So like I said, go out there and having the mindset that I need to be one of the best players in college football, one of the best tight ends. Like I said, just going out there every day, and the coaches do a great job of being on me and holding me to a standard.
On the left, James.
Expand on that standard a little bit, Kenyon, because there hasn't been a tight end drafted here in 11 years, but Terrence is clearly going to change that in about 3 weeks.
Mhm.
So what is that standard to you? What does that look like to you? And what did you get from him and Pat specifically over these last couple of years?
Like I said, we're talking standard. Those guys set the bar really high. I mean, Ferg being like the best tight end in Oregon history, one of the best to do it. I mean, like about every record he has under the tight end category. So like I said, the standard's high. And going in there and living up to it and elevating the standard too, doing things that no other tight ends are doing in the country. Like I said, the expectation's there. I just got to go out there and live up to it.
What do you think you've improved this offseason? What do you think you've added to your game? What do you still want to add to your game before the season starts?
Explosive, still blocking. I've put on weight. I'm explosive. So that's an area I continue to improve on and want to make emphasis. Being a smaller guy, I want to prove that I can block down on the line. And then just overall speed of gameplay for sure. So I'm a lot more explosive in and out of routes, just being fluid.
How hard has it been to be patient and wait for your chance these last 2 years?
Yeah, it's definitely challenging, especially with the portal being such a big thing in college football. But it definitely has there's perks to it. Like I said, seeing behind guys like Pat and Ferg, the amount you learn from them, and competing with them on a day-to-day basis too. And just because they're in front of me doesn't mean I don't get to go out there and compete with them. So like I said, just being patient teaches you a lot of good things, and I'm really glad I did.
You've had a fairly even split of inline and slot reps over your career so far, but there's a lot of inline reps to be had with both Terrence and Pat moving on. When you talk about improving at blocking, how much of that is not just to improve your own self, but knowing that there's going to be a lot of reps out there at the inline spot this upcoming season?
Right. I think the biggest part here is like me being willing to do that. Like I said, understanding that a lot of those reps are gone, but we do have guys like JJ and other guys in the tight room. They're also willing to do it. So all of us are capable of doing it. We're excited and we're each, like I said, willing to do it. Like I said, those are definitely there. So it's kind of just like a grit of wanting to go out there and do it.
What are your thoughts on the other guys in the tight end room, and who's impressed you so far?
We're all doing really well. Everyone's improving in a lot of areas, especially the spring ball. Like I said, JJ, AJ Plugano, Zach Grace, all of them, even Roger and rehab and stuff, they're all doing great things on their own. Like I said, the tight room, they're just standing every day. Manager and Coach Steve do a really good job holding us to it.
First, to follow up, you said that you put on weight this offseason. What are you up to now? And then just can you go into JJ a little bit more? What are you seeing from him so far this spring? Fans have not seen a ton of him out, obviously in an Oregon uniform. What is it about him that makes him special?
Right. Weight-wise, yeah, I'm just right around like the little under 250 range, right around 250. And it feels really good. Like I said, going in from JJ's come in, had a great attitude. He's super fun to be around. Super, just a good overall human, which is good because the tight room is just a lot of good people in it. But no, JJ's done a great job. He has like the ethic of going in, attacking everything. He's understanding the playbook well. He's doing really well.
I want to ask you about your history with hurdling players. When did you first start doing that? What are you looking for on the field in terms of when it's appropriate to try and do something like that, and how gratifying was it to do it in such a big moment earlier this year?
Right. My first time, I started a little bit in high school. We're doing like a playoff game, kind of just like an instinct. I think, my freshman year against Stanford, I tried to hurdle somebody. It didn't go well, and that was kind of like intentional, I guess. I kind of had the mindset I was going to go jump over somebody, but it didn't really work well. So I guess it just more happens when you're in the moment is when it works out.
You mentioned that Ferg had kind of raised the standard for tight ends at Oregon. Have you thought about what you want your legacy to be when you're getting out of here, and how you want people to think of your Oregon career?
Right. Like I said, like, legacy, like Ferg left his legacy, and I'm chasing it, every day. Like the standard Ferg set, but also the records that Ferg left here. Like every day, I remind myself that those are the goals that I want to hit. He did a great job. Like I said, he competed every day, and he's like one of the best humans I've ever met. So just reaching that goal that he set, and like legacy at the end of the day, just want people to, see my name on those leaderboards and stuff, and just remember who I was.
When the tight ends in the conference this year were about as good a collection as it's been in a long, long time, and now there's going to be a lot of new faces and guys in bigger roles like yourself and Claire and Velling in particular, like Eric talked about with the play after the Big Ten title game. What does it feel like to be not just the face of the tight end room here, but one of the faces in the conference after a play like that going into next season?
Yeah, there's definitely like an expectation that comes with it. I get the biggest part is just competing with those guys. It's hard. Like you can't visually see them every day, so just knowing that they're working and trying to outwork them every day.
I want to see what your thoughts are on the quarterbacks this year. Obviously, you've been around some really experienced guys. These are maybe less experienced, but really talented players. Just some early thoughts on that position.
No, they're all doing a great job. From Dante to Austin to all the way down to the new guys coming in, like Akili and stuff. No, they're all doing a great job and coming with like a certain like professionalism every day. And like I said, like drop off, no, like they're all really athletic and talented players, mentally as well. So no, it's really good to go out there and just, catch ball with them and spring ball and stuff, let it loose.
Kenyon Sadiq, the Oregon tight end, who really is now a leader beyond the tight end room for the entire offense. And, man, I will never forget that hurdle in the Big Ten championship game. That was unreal, what we saw from Kenyon Sadiq. That's what makes, you talk about guys that arrive at Oregon and then are part of the program for a while. Like, now you're going to see the payoff of player development, I think, in Kenyon Sadiq. Oregon women's golf team was in 6th place through 18 holes at the Silverado Showdown yesterday. The number 3 Ducks are back in action today. We'll tell you a little bit more about it tomorrow as the final scores head into the clubhouse for Oregon women's golf. On tomorrow's show, we'll talk a little bit more Diamond sports and a little more spring football as well. It's a fun time of year. See ya.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us.